Hello everyone, today we're going to look at clearing fractions and solving equations. What we're going to do is we're going to have an equation that involves fractions and we're going to get rid of the fractions. We do this by multiplying every single term by the LCD. So remember the rule of multiplication, I have to multiply everything in order for it to still be a true equation. Why we do this is so that every fraction's denominator will cancel with some part of the LCD. So it's going to divide evenly and therefore no more fractions. So for our first example, we have 3 halves x minus 1/3 equals 4x over 3. So we look at our denominators, 2, 3, and 3, and we figure out the LCD is 6. So we're going to take every term, there are 3 of them, and we'll multiply by 6. So for our first set, 6 divided by 2 is 3, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 6 divided by 3 again is 2. So we're going to take our LCD, divide it by the denominator first, and then we'll multiply through. So our first term, we have 3x times 3 will give us 9x. Our second term is 1 times 2, so 2. Our third term is 4x times 2, which will be 8x. So we get 9x minus 2 equals 8x. Now this is a two-step equation problem, so we want to combine our x's together and then divide by our coefficient. And if we do that, we should get that x equals 2. And don't forget that whenever you solve an equation, you can always check it by plugging it back in. So if I have 3 over 2 times 2 minus 1/3, does that equal 4 times 2 over 3? My 2's cancel, and I have 3 minus 1/3, which is 2 2/3. And then over on the right, I have 8/3, which is also 2 2/3. So I've checked it, and I know that I'm right. So let's try another one. 2 minus x over 5 equals 2/3 minus 4/3 x. The LCD between 3 and 5 is 15. So I'm going to multiply every term by 15. So don't forget that 2 minus x over 5 is one term, so I multiply it by 15. 2/3 gets multiplied by 15, negative 4/3 x gets multiplied by 15. So we're going to take our LCDs, divide by the denominators, and then multiply what's left over. So 5 goes into 15 3 times. 15 goes into 5, sorry, 3 times. 15 goes into 3 5 times. And again, 15 goes into 3 5 times. So I'm going to take my 2 minus x multiplied by 3, take my 2 multiplied by 5, take my negative 4x and multiply it by 5. And then I will distribute my 3. And then again, we'll combine, bring the x's to one side, the constants to the other, and solve for x. And hopefully you get 4 over 17. You can check this. I checked it before. It does work. It gets a little messy sometimes when x is a fraction. You have fractions within fractions. But as long as you have time on the test, you should always check your answer. Right? There's no reason not to. So let's try another one. 3x over 2 minus 3/5 equals 3 over 10x plus 3. LCD of 2, 5, and 10 is 10. And again, every term, there are 4 of them, will get multiplied by 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 10 divided by 10 is 1. And then the last term doesn't have a denominator, so it's just going to be 3 times 10. Okay. So now we multiply 3x by 5, multiply 3 by 2, 3x by 1, 3 by 10. So we have 15x minus 6 equals 3x plus 30. Again, put all your x's on one side, your constants on the other, solve for x, and you should get 3. And again, we can check this. So my first term, 3 times 3 over 2, that'll be 9 over 2. minus 3/5. Does that equal 3 over 10 times 3 is 9 over 10 plus 3. Okay, over on the right, I'm going to have 39 over 10 because 3 is 30 over 10. On the left, 9 over 2 minus 3 over 5. If I want to combine that, I need a common denominator, which we already know is 10. So if I do that, I'll have 45 over 10 minus 6 over 10, and that will give me my 39 over 10. Okay, so again, you should always check your answers. How about one that doesn't actually look like fractions? 2.5x minus 4.55 equals 8.35 minus 2x. So I don't have any fractions here, but I'm still going to do the same type of situation to get rid of decimals. Right? Decimals I can write as fractions and vice versa. So we just want to remember that if I have point, say 3, that's 3 over 10. Right? 0.3 is 3/10. If I have something like 0.56, that's 56 over 100. And say 0.123, that's 123 over 1,000. However many decimal places you have, that's how many zeros you're going to have after the 1. Okay, so 0.3 has 1 decimal, so it's over 1 and then 1 0. 0.56 has 2 decimals, so it's over 1 and 2 zeros, and so forth. So our LCDs are always going to be powers of 10. So you just want to look and say which number has the most decimals. So our two guys here both have 2 decimals. My 2.5 only has 1, so the largest is 2. So my LCD is 100, 1 followed by 2 zeros. When I multiply everything by 100, I'm moving the decimal over 2 places. So my 4.55 is going to become 455. My 8.35 becomes 835. My 2.5 becomes 250. So they all get moved over 2. And that includes the 2 from over here. 2 moving the decimal over twice becomes 200. So now I don't have any fractions, I never did, but I also don't have any decimals. Okay, and again, after that point, you want to put all your x's together, put all your constants together, divide by your new coefficient, and you should get 129 over 45, which simplifies. Both of those numbers are divisible by 3, and I get 43 over 15. And again, you can go back and check it. I would suggest using your calculator, but I did check it before, so I know that one's right. So let's try one more. Negative 0.82x plus 4.32 equals 2.9x minus 1.88. So when I look at all my numbers and I say, what is the most decimals that I have? And again, that's 2. So my LCD is 1 with 2 zeros, or 100. And then I'm going to multiply everything by 100. So I'm going to move the decimal over twice for each of them. And I end up with negative 82x plus 432. That should be an equal sign. Equals 290x minus 188. Okay, so again, everything got moved over 2 decimal places. And then, again, put all your x's together, put all your constants together, and we'll get 620 over 372, which again, you can simplify. So we get 155 over 93. Okay. So even though you have decimals in there, your answer is going to end up being a fraction. And don't forget, you always want the exact answer whenever possible, so leave it as the fraction. Don't try to put that as a decimal. Right? 93 is not a great denominator. Okay, so make sure you read through the book, try the homework, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.